Hey guys, this is Miss Rebecca with the Kingwood Branch Library, and today's baby storytime session will be Peekaboo Storytime. So we're going to create images and attach them to popsicle sticks to show our babies. You can draw any images of your own or color in images like I did, and the story times will be Aesop's fables and other favorites. The importance of playing peekaboo to establish object permanence with your child. So even though they can't see your smiling face, they know it's still there. Let's get started. Hey guys, this is Miss Rebecca with the Kingwood Branch Library, and today's Peekaboo Storytime story is Turandot the Ice Princess. Once in the land of ice and snow, the princess of the red scarf penguins was known as Turandot. And her father, the emperor of the red scarf penguins, did not believe her to run a kingdom on her own. So he proposed a contest of all the penguins of all the other 7 kingdoms to marry her. Naturally, the princess very much objected, since she didn't trust anyone to run her kingdom with as much love and efficiency as she could. If there was anything that Turandot loved more than riddles, it was efficiency. The prince of the green scarf penguins was Caliph. At the beginning of the contest, he saw her standing quietly beside her father and her beautiful red scarf fluttering in the breeze, and Caliph fell in love with Turandot instantly. The contest to win Turandot's hand was one of riddles. She read them out clearly, and each contestant had 1 day to give one answer. If your answer was wrong, you were sent back to your kingdom with no supper. What constantly falls in the winter but never gets hurt? Turandot asked. Why, leaves, of course, piped the prince of the yellow scarf penguins. And where have you seen leaves falling in the middle of winter? Turandot asked. When the prince of the yellow scarf penguins couldn't answer, he was sent home with no supper. The answer is snow, Turandot, replied Caliph. It's cold but beautiful. On the second day, Turandot read out her riddle. What looks pretty flying free, but when you catch it, it must flee? A snowshoe hare, cried the prince of the blue scarf penguins. Have you ever caught a flying snowshoe hare? Turandot asked. When the prince of the blue scarf penguins couldn't answer, he was sent home with no supper. The answer is a snowflake, Turandot, replied Caliph. When you catch it in your flipper, the ice turns to water and it drips to the ground. On the third day, Turandot read out her riddle. What gets colder as it keeps me warm, but feels nothing in my warm home? Turandot asked. Bring it tomorrow and meet your fate. The next day, Caliph was late. Turandot had hoped to see him again, but she thought he'd given up and went home with no supper. A teapot, princess, said the prince of the orange scarf penguins. When it pours out its warm water for tea, it gets cold. But wouldn't the teapot get hot to warm the water for tea and then stay warm in my warm home? Turandot asked. When the prince of the orange scarf penguins couldn't answer, he was sent home with no supper. Caliph, the prince of the green scarf penguins, finally arrived, waddling up with one flipper behind his back. I have the answer to your riddle, Princess Turandot. The answer is a snow hat. Upon his answer, he held up his flipper. He'd made her a beautiful crown with bold, cheery red colors and quiet, deep green colors. You are clever enough to rule your kingdom as you see fit, Turandot, Caliph said, putting the crown in her flipper. But I still want to marry you because I love you. That is the right answer, Turandot proclaimed, and she and Caliph were married. The end. Thanks for joining me with Peekaboo Storytime today. Join us next week for another Peekaboo Storytime. Goodbye.